What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And well, the official Marvel's Avengers website is now started to begin teasing the new character coming to this game, which we technically know is Hawkeye, but we got a ton of stuff to talk about this stuff, also linking to a new Forbes article that Paul Tassi has written, so we got a ton of stuff to cover in today's video. Now, I do want you guys to let me know in the comments below how excited, and be realistic as possible, right? On a scale 1 to 10, are you actually feeling for Hawkeye? Now, me being totally honest with you guys, just because we've had Kate Bishop and Hawkeye essentially being an archer as well, I'm actually gonna give it like a 6 in terms of my hype. Like, it is a character that I am really excited to play as, but in terms of my hype level, it's probably sitting at around, I'd say, a solid 6 as a whole. But let me know yours in the comments below. And two things that I have to mention to you guys. First of all, our incredible sponsor, Instant Gaming. They do a bunch of new games for a really cheap price. Check that link out in the description below. A great company. But second of all, about my second channel, some of you guys know I'm co-hosting on it, but if you don't, well, now you know. It's all linked to entrepreneurship and so forth, so if that is in any of your interest, please go ahead and check that out, because I think you'll find out a lot of info on there as well. But let's dive into this video, and I want to start off with how this new character is being teased. So, on the official Marvel's Avengers website, the new section shows all the characters, but now what we see is a coming soon icon, I guess you could call it, right? And this is interesting. Now, these aren't technically the first developers to kinda pull a move like this, but what we do know is that they don't blatantly do it and tell you like, hey, we've just updated our website. It's basically one of those things that you just have to come across, right? But here's the thing. This is interesting, but we know it's Hawkeye, right? That's a no-brainer. But what would have been actually cool is if, I guess, like weeks up to the new character launch, or even days maybe, that they start to pull new teasers on what character that could be. Whether or not they drop more hints in this category, I think that would be cool, but we didn't have this before, right? So we know that. And the fact that this has come up now, also knowing Hawkeye's release date, kind of having a rough idea, it does seem like it's still going to be a lot closer than we think. And yes, we're talking about very early in January. But going on to the second thing, it is that surprisingly the game is on discount again, right? And we're talking a whopping 50% off right now again, which is fantastic, right? But is it really still enough to pull those player numbers back up? Now, before I dig deep into that Forbes article, which is basically regarding all of that stuff, interestingly enough as well, Avengers is now nominated at the Steam Awards for Outstanding Visual Style. Let me know what you guys think on that in the comment section below. I'm gonna say I think it's well deserved, and I think it's great that they have actually been nominated, so we'll have to see how that goes down. But all we really want right now is the info with how is this game actually going to revive itself. Now, this is what leads me on to Paul Tassi's Forbes article. And if you guys know who Paul Tassi is, then you'll know he is actually a super fan of Marvel's Avengers, but a completely brutal, I guess, honest guy as well, which again is very crucial. Now, he basically posted an article the other day that states that, well, we do actually, I guess, kind of all agree that Marvel's Avengers deserves a second chance. And when we say second chance, we're just talking about the Rocky launch, right? And we've already been saying next gen is going to be that moment for them to, I guess, have that time to shine again, right? Now, what Paul Tassi said in short is that Marvel's Avengers needs a moment, and what he means by this, he did actually link it to other looter shooter games like Destiny and so forth, how they always have these big expansions that are their game's moments, if that makes sense. So it's like something that is solidly going to make you convinced enough to just pick the game back up and put the hours in. And this is another thing that I keep mentioning. For example, myself, right? I still, believe it or not, haven't maxed up all my characters, right? Not because I don't want to, it's just I got to a stage where I was doing all the same missions that I couldn't be really bothered too much to grind all the characters again, like with Kate Bishop, right? But I now know that, okay, with all these characters coming up, yes, it's going to be a good idea to have to grind these characters because, of course, you want to get access to certain things, right? And certain missions are capped at power levels. But I think Paul Tassi's right when he says that Marvel's Avengers needs a large expansion rather than just dribs and drabs of content. So what he does state, of course, is that the current plan is not going to produce that result in terms of bringing back a large player base, and that he can almost guarantee that if they stick to what they are now, it's a no-go. Now, he did also say that with Hawkeye coming to the game, again, it's only going to be a handful of missions, but this arrival will probably be even less exciting than Kate's. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, considering that he's also, I guess, sharing the same moveset. Now, again, when we've been talking about Black Panther, right, and we know that he's supposed to come after Hawkeye, and his Wakanda content is almost certainly, again, not going to be on a scale that we would like it to be, but we know that this is going to be interesting. And by the way, when I'm mentioning this, you guys know that for the last 2 days we've had news on Black Panther's DLC, right, by Miller leaking some brand new information. So if you haven't checked those videos out, definitely go ahead and check it out. But he made some good points, right, and when I say he, I'm talking about Miller. Now, this is the fear, and it's basically simply drip feeding free small content drops. Even if they are good, it's not going to amass a player base. Now, Paul Tassi continues to say that it may keep ultra diehard fans like me engaged, but there are not many of us left. To me, doing what Crystal Dynamics is doing now would be like Destiny, trying to existing only within small seasons and no actual expansions, so the interest would tank and nothing will redeem Avengers short of a massive chunk of new content delivered all at the same time. Mark my words. Now, this really got me thinking, because I know a lot of people are like, well, I only speak positive of the game, and yes, I always see the bright light at the end of the tunnel. And here's the thing, a lot of these videos that I do as well, right, are us just having discussions as a community, and I think this is the cool thing about us, because we're just basically sticking in that loop. And a lot of people have still been saying that they do feel like, yes, I'm really hyped up for Black Panther's DLC, but is it just going to be small content drops? Now, with the leaks that we got with Miller, technically no, right? We know that a ton of stuff is going to come with that DLC, and we know that it's going to be good, right? All the way from the voice character, or voice actor should I say, right down to the combat in the game. But I think Paul Tassi's right. I don't think it's all about small dripping great content. It's about literally throwing a ton of brand new content on us all at once, because that way we're just going to be way engaged for a much longer period of time, even if it does mean delaying, I guess, heroes on their roster that they do have planned, maybe to just make sure they are all polished, and hey, even maybe drop 2 at the same time, which would be insane. But can you imagine dropping a Black Panther and a Spider-Man DLC at the same time? Chances of that are very unlikely, but the craziness in terms of the player base, surely that would have an effect. I want you guys to let me know below, but that's going to wrap up this video here. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and until the next one, adios amigos.